Sometimes lost items should stay lost, because finding them can lead somewhere disturbing. Story 1. The camera was a heavy, cold weight in my pocket, a vintage Leica I'd found tucked behind a loose floorboard in my new apartment. It smelled of ozone and stagnant dust. When I finally pried the jammed back open, there was a roll of film already inside, yellowed and brittle. I'm a hobbyist, so I developed it myself in the cramped dark of my bathroom. I expected vacation shots or blurry family portraits. Instead, the images were a chronicle of my own life, before I had moved in. The first 5 photos were of the apartment, empty and sun-drenched. The 6th was a shot of me sitting at my kitchen table, taken from the perspective of someone standing in the dark hallway of my bedroom. I remembered that night. I had attributed the sensation of being watched to the settling of an old building. My pulse hammered against my collarbone as I hung the rest to dry. The subsequent photos were not of the apartment. They were of the street outside, then a train station, then a park bench. In each frame, the camera's lens was focused on the back of a woman's head. She had reddish hair, cut into a sharp, asymmetrical bob. I recognized her. She was the barista I saw every morning on my way to work. She was smiling in the final photo, appearing to look directly into the lens, her hand raised in a cryptic, stiff wave. Paranoia bloomed in my chest like black mold. I checked the back of the camera again. There was no serial number, just a faint, scratched inscription in the metal. I keep what I find. I didn't go to work the next day. I sat in my living room, the blinds drawn, clutching a kitchen knife. The silence of the apartment felt pressurized, thick with the phantom scent of ozone. Around noon, a rhythmic thump started on the other side of my front door. It wasn't a knock. It sounded like someone dropping a heavy bag over and over. I peered through the peephole. The hallway was empty, save for a small cardboard box sitting on the welcome mat. I waited an hour before pulling the door open. The box was taped shut. Inside sat a pair of silver earrings, the same ones the barista had been wearing when she served my coffee 2 days ago. Underneath the earrings was a photograph, fresh and still slightly tacky to the touch. It was a picture of me, taken from inside my own closet less than 10 minutes ago. My breath hitched. I spun around, staring at the closet door. It was slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness peering back at me. From the shadows, the distinct mechanical click of a shutter echoed through the room. I didn't run. I couldn't. I just stood there, realizing that the items I'd found weren't lost at all. They were invitations, and I had already accepted. Story 2. I found the digital camera in the seat pocket of a cross-country flight. It was a sleek, silver model, heavy with the weight of someone else's memories. When I powered it on, the screen flickered, revealing a single folder titled "The View from Above." I expected vacation snapshots. Instead, I found a sequence of photographs that made my stomach turn. They weren't of landscapes or landmarks. They were photos of the backs of heads, dozens of them. Commuters on a subway, a woman waiting for a bus, a child in a park. Each frame was taken from a distance, hidden behind trees or blurry windows, focusing on the nape of the neck. The last photo was the most unsettling. It was a shot of a man's study, my study. My desk, my scattered notes, and the back of my own head, hunched over my laptop, taken from the vantage point of my bedroom window. I dropped the camera, the plastic casing clattering against the hardwood. Paranoia, sharp and cold, prickled at my skin. I lived on the 4th floor of a secure apartment complex. There was no balcony, no ledge, just a sheer drop of 40 feet. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the center of my living room, the lights blazing, listening to the rhythmic hum of the refrigerator. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward me, taking a shape that felt familiar and malicious. I kept glancing at the camera, waiting for it to blink, to show me something new. By morning, the battery was dead, but my compulsion to check it was terminal. I bought a charging cable at a local electronics store. As I plugged it in, the camera didn't just display the photos. It started a slideshow. The photos began to cycle rapidly. The stalker had been following me for months. There were pictures of me buying coffee, me sleeping, shots taken from inside my own apartment while I lay oblivious in bed. And then, the photos shifted. They stopped being of me and started being of rooms I didn't recognize. Basements filled with rusted tools, rooms lined with soundproofing foam, and finally, a dark closet. The last photo loaded slowly. It was a picture of me, sitting on my floor, holding the camera, looking directly into the lens. The timestamp was set to now. My blood turned to ice. I looked up from the screen, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. The room was silent, but then I heard it, the faint rhythmic click of a shutter coming from the darkened closet across the room. The door, which I distinctly remembered closing, was now ajar by the width of a human hand. I am sitting here, fingers trembling as I type this, staring at the sliver of darkness. I don't want to turn around. I don't want to see what is holding the other camera. I just know that the cycle is about to close, and whatever found me is waiting for me to look back.